Today I'd like to talk about Amnesia, The Dark Descent, which is a great horror game, probably the most successful indie horror game of all time, and definitely has been an inspiration to Neverending Nightmares. And specifically the thing that I like, well, there's actually two things I love about Amnesia, is firstly, when playing the game, I thought it had a huge team and a huge budget, because hey, it's this immersive 3D world, and you can do a lot of things, and they have the physics and all these things which are sort of like signs that, oh, this is AAA. And then I looked at the credits and I'm like, holy shit, that's a small number of people working on this game. And I think that the reason is they basically did everything very intelligently. They tried to create things that they knew they could reuse, which is basically the opposite of what we did on Retrograde. Every single level on Retrograde is a one-off. And we created all new enemies, all new worlds, new art styles even. We had to do new concepts, and it was just a nightmare. And I think that was really a terrible idea. Just because, had we done things well, I feel like we could have, tweaked the art, or just not completely started from scratch for every world, or even, changed the theme or the scope, like in Amnesia, being in a mansion that works perfectly because the game's about exploring this mansion, or castle, I guess castle. So that was really great, and I'm definitely trying to learn from that and try to say, how can we, use our resources in a way that creates the best game, that gives us the most content, most bang for the buck, I guess. And Amnesia, I think, to me, is an example of a game that really did it extremely intelligently, probably better than any other game, because, like, if you think about it, there's basically similar textures, similar world, and there's, like, 3 characters and some random naked human people. I mean, there's the enemy. I think they only had one enemy model. There's the Agrippa, I think, and the final boss guy. So, like, wow, that's smart. But when you play the game, it doesn't feel like that. You're not like, oh man, they're really skimping on characters and enemies and stuff. But the other thing, and certainly I'm really trying to draw a lot of inspiration on it for what I'm doing now, is the enemy encounters. And the enemy encounters were really interesting to me because basically they make you afraid just with all the different elements in terms of, if you look at the enemy, you go crazy, the screen gets all wobbly, and, you can't defend yourself, they destroy you if they find you. So basically, like, to avoid the enemies, you do exactly what you might do in a real situation, where you, like, shut the door behind you and then go hide in a corner behind the box with the lights out. And, like, that's what I was doing in game, and it was like, your feelings almost sort of mirror that of the character. So if you're a character cowering in the corner, hoping that the monster will not come this way, like, wow, that feels really good for a player. You're like, ah. So I think they did that very smartly, and that sort of, I guess I've been sort of calling it stealth, but I think it's more than stealth. It's about hiding, avoiding, and that sort of thing is what we're really going to try to do with Neverending Nightmares and our enemy encounters. So it's definitely a great game to look at. I also just got Outlast, and I'm looking forward to playing that. But just the idea that you can't engage, you have to hide, and that, I feel like, evokes a pretty good feeling in the player. And like Silent Hill Shattered Memories sort of tried to do it with their whole, like, running instead of fighting, and then they had the hiding things, but the hiding things were woefully ineffective. But Silent Hill Shattered Memories is an interesting game, and probably I'll talk more about that later. But definitely, if you haven't played Amnesia, I'm sure you played Amnesia, but if you haven't, you should check it out. It's really awesome.